Okay, here's a quick video about using a DC to DC charger to charge your batteries while you're driving. A lot of people say you can't charge off the aux pin of your tow vehicle, and yeah, it's tough, but I'll show you what I've done. So what I did is I took where the tow vehicle auxiliary line comes in underneath the R-Pod. It goes through a thermal fuse, and then it goes right to the main battery. I disconnected that, and instead I added this on, just a piece of 10 gauge wire to an Anderson SB50 connector. I connected SB50s, and I'll talk about that in a second, why I did that. And then the other end, same thing. I went to an SB50, and then I went straight into my battery through a fuse. There's my 280 amp hour battery over there. Anyway, so now what I can do is I could just, technically if I plug these two together, without the DC to DC charger, I would have the same thing that I had before, just dump straight in. The reason that didn't work is because it was actually, because lithium batteries are so high voltage, it was actually dumping voltage into the tow vehicle and discharging. So I didn't really want that. A lot of people pull the fuse out to deal with that. So I added a DC to DC charger. I picked this model because it can be set to 10 amps. I figured 10 amps was the most I could draw. The stock is 20 on this, so I had to go into the menu and turn it down to 10 amps. As you can see, I'm getting about 10 amps of charge. I got a little bit of solar coming in, so that's why it's showing a little bit low. But I am getting 10 amps of charge. Now, the real problem here is that there's so much voltage drop down the wire. And I'm going to put a voltmeter on here. And you can see I've only got 12.15 volts coming in from my 13.7 at the alternator. So I'm dropping a lot of voltage. This is really kind of a marginal setup. What I did have to do was I added this little switch here to the ignition, which fools it and keeps it on. Otherwise, the voltage drops so low it thinks that the alternator is not on and it shuts off. So it does work. The reason I used these connectors is, number one, I feel like it's so marginal I don't want to use it unless I need it if I got plenty of solar. So in that case, I'm just going to disconnect, the DC to DC, connect these two together and not even use this. And the other thing I want to be able to do is charge small batteries or other RVs. So in this way, I can actually turn it around and go the other way and come off my battery to charge other auxiliary batteries or people's solar, what do you call them, solar generators, that kind of thing. So this way, because I have the same type of SB50 Anderson connector on both ends, I can flip it around and charge other batteries as well as charge my own battery. So that's the setup. Yes, you can get 10 amps, that's kind of the maximum out of a Toyota. I have a 2017 Toyota 5th generation 4Runner. So yes, you can get 10 amps. Yes, you can charge the battery. It's really only enough to keep the battery from discharging while you're driving and put a little bit more in. It's not a lot. 10 amps seems to be about it. If I had to do this again, PowerWorks makes an 8 amp, or it's adjustable, 2, 4, 6, 8, I think, amp unit, and you can set it to whatever you want. And I probably wouldn't have been so ambitious to try 10 amps. I had a hope that I could do 20, and it doesn't work. So what I could do is I could go on my 4Runner and I could increase the wire gauge to 8 gauge wire by modifying my vehicle, and then I'm sure I could pull up to 20. But I just don't want to modify my vehicle. I want this to be able to work with anybody's, because then it's only going to work with my vehicle, and that's not what I want. I want to be able to work with any tow vehicle. But this quick little video, like I said, show you that yes, you can do some DC to DC charging. You need a DC to DC charger. Yes, you can pull about 10 amps off the aux line of a 4Runner, but that's about it. I'm really kind of maxing it out. Anyway, let me know what you find. If you've done this on a different vehicle, I'm curious what you find. It works, but barely. Anyway, everybody, happy RVing.